Hey everybody, welcome to this lesson on learning something called Dev Tools. This is a really exciting introduction to HTML and CSS. If you're passionate about learning these things, maybe you want to get started and just poke around, this is a great place to start. Whether you're a small business owner that has a website, wants to customize it a little bit, maybe you're an aspiring student, you're in high school, you want to build a website, anything like that. This is a great intro to the coding world. So let's get started and just jump right in. This lesson's not going to be very technical. It's going to be more of a dive into the water and then learn how to swim later. Don't worry, there's a life raft. You're wearing a life vest. You're going to be fine. Don't feel overwhelmed or scared. So follow along with me. We're going to have fun here and go to google.com and preferably go in a web browser like Google Chrome. That's a really easy one to use. I really like their version of what we're going to be doing. It's called Dev Tools. So take a minute, pause the video if you need to, jump onto Google Chrome. Man, this is exciting. Okay, so we are just going to jump right in. So we're looking at Google here. If you don't have Google Chrome, you might have to download it. Other browsers like Safari, Firefox, those work fine. They should be just fine for this. And what you want to do is you want to go to google.com on whichever browser you're on, and you want to open up something called Dev Tools. Depending on your system and your machine, you may have an issue getting this activated. You might have to turn on some settings, but some computers and operating systems have these settings already available automatically. All you have to do usually is go to a website and hit the F12 key on your laptop or computer. So you just jump on and you hit F12 and you should see a bunch of code pop up. If you got the code, that's great. If nothing happened, that's okay too. You might have to hold the function key and hit F12. Another option is you can try right-clicking and go inspect element or inspect, something to that language. That's a great way to get it to happen too. If you tried that and that doesn't work, that's okay. You may have to enable some settings for developer mode. I've seen that on some Macs before. So you might have to do a quick search for enabling dev tools. On Safari, for example, that's a thing. Then it just depends on your system and all that kind of stuff. So great. Let's jump back to the last page. Awesome. All right, so yeah, once you get that set up, you've hit F12, you see a bunch of code pop up. Super exciting. Don't be afraid. Nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. You can do this. We can rest assured here. No reason to panic. You're going to see your code probably looking like this. You'll see a bunch of stuff on the left-hand side that looks like a whole bunch of lines of code. I don't know how to really explain it. Somebody who hasn't really seen it before, it might look cascading, where it's kind of got like an XML is another language that looks like this, where it's got layers within layers or levels within levels. If you kind of notice, I'm opening things, and then there's things inside of it, and then there's things inside that. So that's pretty interesting. And you can just go ahead on your screen and you can kind of poke around and see, wow, there's a lot of characters. There's a lot of different things happening that look very foreign to me. What is happening right here is this is the HTML of the website. The HTML is like the skeleton, and it basically holds everything together. It's the foundation. It's like the walls and the foundation of a building. Now, that's really awesome. That's called HTML. Now let's jump over to the other side, which you should see natively, and it is called CSS. It's the stuff, in this case, on the right side, we see some little bits of code that have been selected, and we see different things like it says body, color, background color. These are colors here. These are called hex codes, font family, so it's using the font Arial right here, or sans serif if the Arial doesn't work. And we can see lots of exciting things here that are happening. The CSS is basically stylizing the web page. So it takes the CSS is like the makeup artist for the HTML. The HTML is the skeleton, the CSS is the skin, it's the clothes that the person's wearing, the makeup, the hairstyle, all of that design type stuff is the CSS. So you need HTML and you need CSS. You can't have one without the other, or else it's going to be, you can have HTML without CSS, but it's going to look like a web page from 1990. And you really can't have CSS at all if there's no HTML. So HTML comes first. It's the foundation. You got to have that in order to stylize something. So we're not going to get into the definitions of the names of HTML and CSS. We're not going to get into all the use cases and all the technical stuff right now. Instead, we're just going to poke around and just see what happens if we click some stuff and it's okay. Now, don't be worried about clicking here. Don't be worried about changing anything. This is not going to hack the Google website. That's what I thought when I first did this with my business partner. It was really funny. We were learning HTML and CSS and we poked around and DevTools popped up. I don't even remember how that happened, but it surprised us. We'd never seen it before. We thought we'd hacked into a website and then we were going to break it. We accidentally deleted something. We said, oh no, we're hackers now. And we panicked. And then my business partner said, well, what if we just refresh it? Maybe it'll go away, what we did. And he refreshed it, and then everything got fixed. Everything was back to normal. And we took a deep sigh of relief. And then we thought about it after we stopped panicking and realized, wow, you know what? I don't think that we were actually changing the live version of the website where other people would see it. We just thought we were. It was really just our local experience that we were transforming. And that's all that this does. So if I go here and I click on stuff and I start changing things, it's only going to be for my local computer, and same for your case. So there's no worry about breaking anything on Google. We love Google. So what we are going to do is we're going to practice tearing stuff apart. I believe that's a great way to learn. Some people might not be comfortable with that. It should be fun. If it's not fun, that's okay. Just try to follow along and it'll be great. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice playing with the HTML, deleting some of the HTML and seeing what the web page looks like. And then we're going to practice deleting some of the HTML and hiding some of the HTML in a different way. So this is going to be a great experience in kind of seeing how things work together. Let's start with the HTML. So I want you to jump over to all this content over here on the left side. You see all this stuff? You can open it up and close it, kind of poke around. If you need to pause the video and just kind of scroll around and be mesmerized for a minute, that's great. Maybe this is not news to you, and that's cool too, if you're not an absolute beginner. But what we're going to do is we're going to click this little selection icon right here. It might look like an arrow on a box. In this case, that's what it looks like. You can see my mouse right here on the left-hand side of the screen. If your DevTools window is on the side, it's probably in the top left. So you just kind of have to find that. And you want to enable that so it's lit up. Now it's blue. What that's going to do, it's going to let our mouse hover over different items on the web page and select them. And that is just a beautiful thing, because now we can select different parts of the web page and we can stylize it, delete it, do whatever we want. We go bananas. So what I like for you to do is select the Google search bar, if possible. Any part of it, probably the biggest part of it if you can, like a big chunk like this. If you see my screen, really big blue chunk right there, just select something containing the search bar or the search bar. And from there, you will see that your HTML actually selected that line. So if I take my mouse and I bring it from up here to down here where the HTML is, you see that this got selected right here. I'm going to do that again so everybody can watch. So let's go to this big one now. And you notice down here that my HTML it's selected changed. So what we want to do from here is we want to select our element, boom, and then from the HTML down here, we want to right click on it and hit delete element. Now you guys can go ahead and pause the video, do this yourself. I'm going to go ahead and do it here. I just hit delete. Okay, it took away a couple things. Now I can't click this and type in here, which is kind of weird. Because looks like I deleted the input field and I deleted the little, there's a little icon over here on the left. So that's great. Let's try deleting some more stuff. Click a section, right click it, hit delete. Wow, I deleted that whole container. Now we just got an awkward Google icon. What if this is what the Google homepage looked like? That'd be weird. So go ahead and open up your own web browser, select some things, and start deleting them from the HTML. Just jump in there, right click, delete element. Just delete things off the Google page. Nothing against Google. Love Google. This is just a test. And you can see that this is actually kind of wild. Now we have a blank page. We've deleted a lot of HTML. We've deleted a lot of HTML. This is great. We're just trying to learn here. Now, what I want you to do is go ahead and hit the F5 key to refresh your screen, or just refresh your screen any other way. Refresh your web page. Everything's back to normal. Amazing. So that first way is one way we can delete content off Google. Awesome. Now we want to look at a second way to delete content off of Google or any other website, not just Google. We can do this on any web page, anywhere. Google is just the most popular. That's why we're using it. So let's jump over to what is on most likely on the right-hand column on your screen, depending on what browser and what setup you have. It might be, if you have a right-hand configuration like this, it might be at the bottom of your screen. What we want to do is we want to use this portion where it says styles right here, and we want to delete content using these styles. CSS is for styling things. So this is all of our element.style, it says right here. This is all of our styles. And I'm going to move the dev tools back to the bottom here. And what we're going to do is we're going to select some content on the Google page, and we are going to delete it using our styles. And it's really not deleting the HTML, it's just deleting it from the front end user, which is, there's a difference there, what the front end user sees and experiences. And this is a more common way to delete things off of a web page whenever you need to as a web developer. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the same process to do this. We're going to go over here to our select icon, little select arrow, click that so that's lit up. Now we're going to select any part of the site you want. I'm going to go for that Google image right there, select it. Now we see it says IMG right here. That stands for an image. So this is an image tag. That is what this is called. It's an image element in HTML. So we're going to go to this element that we have selected, this image element, and we are going to stylize it. So what we can do is we can go over here to the style section, and you should see something like an arrow that's in the top right there of the styles section, and it should say new style rule or something like that. Click that, and now you notice it says IMG with a couple open brackets. What we want to do is click inside those brackets and type in some code. This is CSS code. We've already got our image selected, so this is going to select every element that is an image, IMG, and it's going to apply this to all of them. And it looks like on this screen, this main image is an image, and it looks like on the top right, my photo right there is probably an image element in HTML, so it'll probably affect that too. So watch closely. We've got the image selected, and we're down here. We're going to type into that box, display, hit tab or enter, and then go none. Look at that, it already auto-filled it. Boom, display none. And what that is doing is that is removing that image from the user's experience. Another way to delete stuff. What we can do now is we have a checkbox next to that CSS. We can uncheck it. Boom, now it's back. Check it. To make it active is checked. Make it inactive is unchecked. So we can do this to show or hide different content. If we make this active, and it really changes the way the user can play with different content on the site. It makes that image basically unselectable now. If we go to our selection tool, we can select the stuff around the image, the containers around the image, but we can't select that image anymore because it has been basically removed through this CSS declaration, display, none, semicolon. Okay, so go ahead and click around the site, find some items that you want to remove, pause the video if you need to, and go to either the element.style here, which is going to automatically select that item, and you can type in display none there, or you can go to the plus sign. Okay, this is kind of intense. If we go to the plus sign for this item that we just selected right here, it just gave us div, and we can select any div. So this is actually really intense. If we type in display none right now on a div, it's gonna like wipe out the whole site. It's gonna be like a white screen probably. So the reason for that is you notice there's a lot of div elements over here in HTML. This one's a div, this one's a div, this one up here is a div, this is a div, and you can just scroll through and see there's a lot of divs. Div is a very common container type of element in HTML. You use divs, D-I-V apostrophe S, to contain things, to hold things. It's kind of like a catch-all kind of bucket that you put stuff inside of. It would be kind of like the frame or the easel that you use to hold your painting is the div usually. And we'll get into more HTML elements soon. But let's go ahead. We've got our div selected, and we've got our selected item highlighted right here in HTML. You see where my mouse is, right on the HTML. Now let's go to our CSS. Inside the div brackets right here, we're going to type in display none. Look at that, white screen. That is amazing. So you can hide and remove from the front-end user experiences view the entire Google homepage as of right now when this video is filmed using the CSS declaration display none. I'm kind of nerdy, so that's exciting to me. It may not be exciting to you, but that's kind of fun. And now we deactivate that, and you can see that, wow, everything's back, activate it, everything's on. That's amazing to me. So fun times. Thanks for watching this. We're going to go into the next lesson. That's going to be a quiz. Thank you so much for watching and for being a part of this. Next lesson, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and do this yourself. Try to step away from this video, come back and see if you can do this whole process by yourself. If you have any questions or hangups, feel free to reach out to the community, reach out to the other people watching the videos, and go ahead and Google any questions you have. So it's good to learn how to ask questions and think about what questions are going to get the answers that you're looking for. If you're having a problem getting DevTools working, you want to go into Google and search for something related to my DevTools is not working. If you search that, you probably want to add your operating system and your browser. So if we were on Mac, which pretty much determines our operating system, and we do Safari, dev tools not working, use the developer tools in the develop menu in Safari on Mac. So this helps give us some direction right here. And see, we've got different code on these different pages, so that's pretty interesting, but we can close out of that code. Use the developer tools in the developer menu in Safari on Mac. If you're a web developer, the Safari develop menu provides tools you can use to make sure your website works well with all standards-based web browsers. If you don't see the develop menu in the menu bar, choose Safari Preferences, click Advanced, then select Show Develop Menu in Menu Bar. So that's your steps if you need help getting DevTools open in Safari. You've just got to enable this setting. Go to Safari, then Preferences on the top there, then click Advanced, then select Show Develop Menu in Menu Bar. For a description of the commands in the Develop menu, see Safari Developer Help. So there you go. You can also go see also Safari for Developers. That should be helpful to you. I hope it is. And anyway, you guys are awesome. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. I hope this was fun for you. And have a good one. See you in the next lesson. Or see you in the next quiz. Hey everybody, welcome to the quiz portion for the intro to DevTools. Congratulations on making it this far. If you got through the first video and it was exciting to you, that's awesome. If it wasn't exciting, please let us know. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do better. But let's jump into the quiz and see what we've learned. We want to go back through everything essentially that we did in the previous video as a quiz. If you can do it all without going back and watching that video, that's awesome. Go for it. Congratulations to you if you can do that. If you can't, that's totally fine. Go back and watch the video again. Zoom around in that video, scroll around in the timestamp and see different parts and you'll get it. So what we want to do is a few things. We want to open up google.com. We want to open up DevTools, which we talked about how to do that. Then we want to go to our HTML. We want to select, using a special select tool, part of the HTML of the website. Then we want to delete that HTML using a just right click on the HTML within DevTools. After that, we want to refresh our page and we want to delete or not display that HTML content using CSS only. So it's not going to delete the HTML, but it's going to hide it from the user's perspective when the user's on the website. Okay? You guys can do this. Go for it. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in. Go for it. Okay, what did we just learn here? A lot of exciting stuff. We got introduced to DevTools. These are the tools that developers use every day. Front-end developers are using these same tools. You just got introduced to HTML and CSS. HTML is the skeleton, the foundation, and CSS is the style, the design. It's the clothes, it's the hair. My hair's got a huge swoop and I need a haircut. You could do that with CSS. You could give me a virtual haircut. And that's what's exciting about websites. You can do all sorts of customization right there. And that's what we're learning and getting our feet wet with doing. We're learning how to delete things, how to remove things from HTML in permanence, and then also how to display none through CSS, which is basically hiding that content from the user, basically making it inaccessible to the user. This is great because I just love DevTools. So that's exciting. Good job, guys. Keep it up. Hey, everybody. If you watched our last section, we talked about how to get introduced to DevTools, get introduced to HTML and CSS in a fun way. We're going to see what is next. What else can we do with HTML and CSS? And one of the ways that may be a fun way to approach this is to jump onto Google Chrome and add something called a Chrome extension. And what that's going to do is we're going to be enabled to add custom CSS onto any website that we visit. So for our local experience, whenever that website loads, it'll have the custom CSS that we want to add on there applied on that website. So let's just jump into it and let's just have some fun and poke around and see what we can change and see what it looks like. So what I want you to do is go ahead and on your laptop or desktop computer, jump onto Google Chrome. Let's just go to Google and let's just search Chrome Web Store. Boom. Now that takes us to the Chrome Web Store, Google Chrome. Let's go there. And from within here, we can search the store and find different programs that will let us customize the CSS on web pages. It's really fun. So all we need to search is CSS Live Editor for CSS. So that's actually pretty cool. User JavaScript and CSS. I'm a fan of this one. I use this one. This one helps you pull CSS out of websites. Then there's a couple other ones, but let's go. If you can find this one, user JavaScript and CSS, that's a great one. You can just click add to Chrome right here, and mine says rate it because I've already got it on my machine. Just jump in there and hit add. It's a great program. If you're uncomfortable with anything about it, you can check it out. But there's different other programs. I've got user CSS here. This is a good one. And yeah, just different options. So anyway, we've got this program and it should pop up on the top right where your extensions are on your web browser. So go ahead and get that program, get another one, maybe user CSS. Maybe this is something that you're interested in. A quick and easy way to add custom CSS to the current website. That's great. That's what we're looking for. And you just want to go ahead and add this extension. You can write your CSS, enjoy the result, press the extension button to hide the CSS editor so you can customize it. So we're just going to work on this. I already added the user JavaScript and CSS, so I'm going to be using that one for this tutorial, but you can use other ones and probably get the exact same effect. So we're going to go back to the Google homepage, meet me back there, and then go to your extension. Boom. It's going to say rules for this page if you're using this particular editor. We're going to say add new. Boom. What in the world just happened? So on the left column here, it has JavaScript. That's JS right there. On the left column here, it has JavaScript. That's JS right there. And on the right column, it has CSS. So we are not going to look at JavaScript right now, even though it's super fun. You can do so much with it. We're just going to look at CSS, which is also super fun and you can do a whole lot with. And what this is allowing us to do is it's taking the site google.com, as you can see up here, we have highlighted up here. And we are going to add custom styles to this site. So if we just add similar code to what we added in our previous lesson, which was div, open bracket, close bracket. Oh, it automatically added the close bracket. That's cool. Then we do display, none. That's should delete everything on the page. And another note here, if you're trying to type along and find that bracket key, like we have, you can, on your keyboard, it's probably near your P key, the letter P as in pony. It's probably near that. You'll probably need to do shift and click that key to get that curly brace right there. So it's actually a curly brace. So you can hit that right there to make that happen. Then you hit enter and this program automatically adds the closing curly brace. So you want the opening curly brace and the closing curly brace. But anyway, if we have our code here, div, which is our HTML that we're selecting, opening curly brace, closed curly brace, and on that div we want to add this CSS to it, make its display be none, which basically hides it from view to the user. So let's hit save. Successfully saved. Let's go back to our Google page, hit F5 or refresh and see if it disappears. Look at that, it disappeared. It's fully loaded. Everything's hidden. So now we can go in our Google page that has everything hidden, hit F12, and we can go and we can scroll through our HTML and try to find one of the divs. This might be There's one. Boom, click it. And now we can look on our right side where our CSS is and scroll through, and we should see the CSS that is being injected onto this page in this area. Look, there it is, div display none, right there. That's what we wrote right over here. So what we can do is we can uncheck that. Boom, everything's back. That is pretty cool. So really exciting stuff right there. And let's try to use this and try to explore other things that we can do by changing things on this web page. So let's delete the display none code because that's kind of crazy. We want to see what we're looking at. Hit save. And now let's see what else we can stylize. Maybe we can change the background of the whole page. Let's go up. So HTML is kind of like a series of Russian egg dolls. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those, but it's like the egg doll that goes inside an egg doll that goes inside an egg doll, and each egg opens up and a smaller egg-shaped statue pops out of it, and then a smaller one pops out of that one. They keep opening and popping out of each other. And that's what HTML is like. You have one really big container on the high level. If we scroll to the top here, you can see it. You have HTML right here, which is our opening container, and it holds everything. Then you have a head and a body within that. So you have a head and a body within that. And then you have a closing HTML. So you can see if I make those real small, if you open up those arrows, you can see everything else inside there. But that's how HTML works. You have a big container, then you have containers inside that, and containers inside that, and containers inside that, and everything gets wrapped around by other things. And that is a great way to organize a web coding structure like this. It's really a powerful language because you can do a lot with a little bit. Because of the way it's structured, you can copy structures, you can layer structures, you can fit structures within structures, and all sorts of things. And you combine that with CSS, and you can do a lot of repetitive things and creative things very easily, because you can have some repetition that is low bandwidth, in my opinion. And I might get some hate mail for that opinion, but it's okay. So anyway, I love HTML. And what we want to do anyway is we're in our HTML document, and let's try selecting go to the very top, and you should see HTML, you should see head, and then you should see a body element. Try selecting that body element, and we should try changing the background color. So if we notice here, let's try changing the background color. It's white right here right now on Google. Let's try changing it to like a mellow color, or maybe a black or a gray or something else. Right here we have the body element in CSS. If you look at our CSS right here, as body, background, FFF, which is another way to say pure white. So right now the body background color is pure white. What you can do is you can click on this little box right here, and it'll open up a color picker. Look at that. That's pretty cool. So you can see at the very top left, there's a little circle in that corner, and that's selecting our whitest white possible. But we can take this, we can click around on this box, we can drag this. Oh my goodness, Google's colors are changing. That is crazy. So let's do like I guess that's a mauve. I don't know what the word is. And let's just ship that. So our hex code is this. Let's copy and paste this code. You guys can pick any color you want. Just copy and paste it onto your clipboard. You can drag this little color selector thingy too. You notice the background color of Google is changing while we're doing this. Web development's so cool. This is so much fun. So if you're not having fun doing this, that's okay. Maybe it'll get fun for you later, but hopefully this is fun for you. So you can do any sort of color. Like we could try, even if we want, we can take this little eyedropper right here, and we can select some of the colors that are on the page. So like if we want to use this to select certain colors on the page, we should be able to. But for some reason, it's not working right now. I'm not sure why. Let's try it again. Click. There we go. So I had to click out and click back. You might have to do that too. But if you click this little eyedropper, it's a color picker. And so you can hover over different colors and then select them and it'll change your other background. So if I try to click on this blue guy, I like this blue. Oh my gosh, it's moving. I'm gonna check the other blue. That's crazy. Boom. Now it's the same blue as that blue. Or we wanna make it that green. Boom. Or the white again, red. So you can match colors. That's pretty sweet. Oh, that yellow actually looks kind of crazy. I like that. I like it. It's very happy, vibrant. So a few things. We just picked colors using this color picker. And you notice it's moving around on this color spectrum right here, which is wild. Sorry if that freaked out your eyes right there. But you can change it right back. You just drag that color picker in the opacity and boom, you can change stuff. Now, what you want to do, you pick your color, whatever color you like, and copy that hex code. That's what this is. It's a hashtag 6-digit, 6-character code, and that is going to tell the computer what this color is. So pure white is FFF, FFF. Pure black is hashtag 000,000. Different colors or hashtag any 6-character combination. In this case, this really nice yellow that I'm liking is a hashtag FFB72A. Now, what you want to do is copy that and then click out of your color picker, and you see that right here in our CSS it says body background, and then it has our color FFB72A. So that's the active color right now. If we deselect this, it goes back to white because that's the default color for most web pages and browsers. It just inherited automatically, but it was white before. So what we want to do is we want to take this code, body, background, and then our color, and we should add that to our extension on Google Chrome. So right here it says we have that color. So what we want to do is we want to select the element that we want to stylize. We were just selecting the body element, so we want to type in body. Now we're going to do things to the body of the HTML, the body element within the HTML of the web page. So the body contains most all of the content that you actually see. The head of the HTML element, let me just jump back there real quick. The head contains all the styles, the scripting, the different like other stuff like Twitter information, Facebook information that lets those websites know, hey, this is what we need to do when you see our site. You guys need to handle it this way. It's all this like extra search engine information and different things. So a lot of stuff in the head is stuff that you don't see, but the body is stuff that you do see as a normal website user. And what we're doing is we're selecting the body and we're going to change the color of the body. If we select the head and we try to change the color of the head, it's not going to do anything. You notice here it says head display none right here in our CSS. And if we try to change it to background blue on the head, it doesn't change anything visibly. It doesn't matter. But if we do go back to body, we change stuff and it's visible because the body's the stuff that people engage with and interact with. So let's go back to our CSS. We have body written down. Let's do open curly brace, and then it does our close curly brace, and we're going to change the background. So we're going to type in background. It already gave us our colon, as you can see right here. And then we just do our hex code, which you should have copied on your clipboard. Control V or Command V. Boom. You've got your color right there. We can hit save. If you have to type something out, you can type it out. You can even write the name of a color. If you want to write down the word red, you can do that. Or blue, like I did earlier. But we're going to do a specific, very specific color right here, that Google yellow they're using. Jump back to Google, hit refresh. Oh, it didn't work. That's interesting. Look at that. So we have, that's interesting. So now we get to learn a little bit about hierarchy of CSS declarations. Yay. So This happens. It's totally normal. When you select an element in HTML and you're going to stylize it in CSS, sometimes when you're selecting things, your styles don't take precedence because the same style is being declared somewhere else. In this case, we can see that the Google web page already had a CSS declaration of telling the body that the background color is hashtag FFF or pure white. We also made a declaration to the body saying the background is this color, the color we chose. Ours was not selected as the superior or one that would be used in the website. There's different reasons for that. And it has to do with what order the CSS is in, what order things are loaded in. It has to do with the selectors that you're using. In this case, we're using the exact same selector of body and body for each one. Their version uses body, our version uses body. Sometimes you use much more complicated selectors, and that makes a difference. We can get into that later. But anyway, we're looking at competing competition for who is going to be used on the web page. How do we fix this? How do we get our code to be numero uno? How do you do that? I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this off the top of my head. One way is to go into our declaration, if we can go into DevTools right here, and we type in explicitly the element that is before or surrounding this element. So it makes our declaration more specific. It's kind of like saying, if you're talking about a person, you could say the guy with blue clothes, or you could say that guy Bobby who has blue clothes. You're talking about the same guy, you're talking about the same person, you're describing who he is, but one way is giving a little more information, talking about Bobby who has blue clothes. So what we can do here is we can be a little more specific in what HTML element we're selecting, and in doing that, we should get the priority to have our code show. So what we want to do is we want to go to our body element right here in DevTools, kind of bring our cursor before that text, and we want to select an element that is before body, and the only element that is, we want to select an element that's before body, and the only element that's before it is HTML right here. So we can just type in HTML, hit enter, boom. Look at that. Our yellow is showing. Our yellow has taken priority. So that is one way, because we're saying Bobby has blue clothes. We're saying the HTML body tag. We're not just saying the body element, but we're saying the HTML body element. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, leave a remark. But basically in HTML, you get pretty specific when you're selecting things, and you choose things based on layers and working your way downstream, cascading into the item you are selecting. So in this case, we know that we want to select the body, but we're being more specific. We're saying the body that is within the HTML, because the HTML is around the body. As you can see here, the HTML is further to the left, and then the body is tabbed in a little bit right here, as you can see. And so the body is what we are wanting to select, and this is how we do it. HTML space body to select that, and we can do that with other elements too. So that's one way that we can get more specific. So I'm just going to refresh, and I'm going to show you a second way. Refresh the screen. We are looking at the body element, seeing that our color is not showing up. What do? We can go to our color. Oops, I just changed it on accident, I think. Or I made it caps. I don't know what I did, but anyway. And we want to space over from our hex code, and we want to type in exclamation mark important. Boom. So that does probably what you think it does. It tells the browser this is important code, this takes precedence over other code, and it pushes your code to be the one that gets displayed, your CSS to be displayed. So that's another way to do this. In this case, we can apply either one. I prefer to save the important declaration for when you really need it and try to not use it all the time for everything, because then it devalues the effectiveness and the usefulness of that addendum to any CSS declaration. So let's keep it simpler and not use important, because that's a good practice to save the important when something's really important and you have a major conflict and you just need something to push through and show, which this is a common problem in CSS where you have multiple styles, overlapping styles, and you need certain code to show. And a great way to overcome this is to write really good HTML so that when you select things with CSS, you also select very specifically and very well when you need to. So that's a lot of theory right there. And I believe that this is moving you guys towards good practice. So we're not going to use important right now. We're going to refresh our page. And we're going to jump over to our user, JavaScript, and CSS. And we're going to look at our body declaration and go back with the first solution that we were just talking about. And we're going to add HTML space body to our declaration. And that should do work just like it did in the first example. So let's go back to our Google page, hit refresh, boom, it worked. You can see the code right here down at the bottom. So that's great. That's great, guys. So this is an example of playing around with DevTools, adding custom CSS. We just learned how to change a background color. We learned a little bit about how to deal with conflicts in CSS, which is a normal part of a web developer's job. And as you're archetyping or planning out like an architect, how your different CSS and HTML is all going to work together, this is the kind of stuff you're thinking about. How do I avoid all this overlapping of declarations where I can very easily and clearly and semantically say, this is what we're selecting and talking about. So nothing to be scared of here. We're just kind of getting into some theory. We still haven't dug into a lot of technical things yet, but we're going to get to that too. The main idea here is to just start thinking in terms of what can we make? What can we change? Let's have some fun and poke around, and let's go from there. So we're going to have a quiz after this, and I'm going to go ahead and close this video, and then I'll see you guys in the quiz. Hey everybody, you guys are awesome. You've made it this far. So excited to be here with you and walk this journey with you. You guys are so inspiring to me, seeing you trudge through this stuff, learn some new skills. It's amazing. You're brave. It's great. And there's nothing to be afraid of here. Just keep learning little things at a time. And as you keep learning little things, you can start doing this professionally and making money at it. The more you just keep adding to your tool belt. So it doesn't take that much to be able to add value to different people and do this professionally. So I hope that's encouraging. Now, let's look at what we have here. We have a different colored background on our Google homepage. That's pretty cool. In our last video, we added an extension on Google Chrome so that we could change our background color. We looked at selecting items. We talked about specificity and selecting things to overcome duplicate selectors that have the exact same selection text on them, the same way that they're written out. And we just went with writing our selector this way so that we could overcome the default styles on the Google web page. Awesome. Now we want to move into a quiz to try to practice this stuff. Just get your feet wet. Just keep jumping in. We'll get to the technical. But right now, let's just get our feet wet and let's try to explore some CSS. You guys just go ahead and jump on Google and say, I want to do things with CSS. I want to, if you have an idea, like say you want to change the color of the text. That's a good one. if you see all this text up here and you say, okay, it's whatever color it is for your screen, and I want to change it to orange, you can do that. You can do that with CSS. Go ahead and search that on Google. How do I change it with CSS? And why is it that the quiz is for you to search stuff and change it? Because that's a lot of your job as a developer, is to not know how to do things, to know it's possible to do things, to dream up, imagine, hey, we should be able to do this with this code, with this language or this library, but how do we actually make it happen? And then you jump on Google and you search and you say, how do I do this? And you'll find different people have asked the same question. You may be able to ask the question on different websites. Stack Overflow is one of them. It's called stackoverflow.com. And I'll put the link in this video somewhere so that you can see that. And what you want to do is just search on Google. It'll take you to different places and different answers, and see what other people are doing with CSS. Some of the common things you do with CSS are change colors, change the design, change the size of things, change the spacing between items. If you wanted to space out how far this image and this input field for searching and these buttons are, if you wanted to make these buttons huge, like you just make them ginormous, make them half the size of the screen, you can do that with CSS. You can change the color of this text. You can delete items. We already looked at that some. You can do a lot more things. And as the Google homepage does not have a ton of content on it, so there's not like all the different things you can do with CSS because you don't have a lot of complexity in the page. They keep it very simple on purpose, which is great. You can change where different links go to. So if you want to change these links to, instead of this advertising link going where it goes, you can make it go to a puppy website. I don't know what you like. And you could change this text right here to puppy time and make the link go to your puppy website. And then every time you go to Google, you can go to your puppy website with one click. I don't know what you want to do, but that sounds kind of fun to me. And you can do all of that with CSS. And there's some complexity involved there. So as you get more advanced, it gets more complex. But I encourage you to just go ahead and keep it simple. Changing links is great. Like this link for this image takes you somewhere. You can change that link to something else. And just do some Google searching. Say, I have this idea. I want to give it a shot. And see what happens. You know, look up that code. And then bring it back to your CSS. You're looking up CSS code, by the way, so that you can add it on here. And say, I want to try to do this kind of thing in CSS. And then try to search using your dev tools to select, say, I want to make the buttons big. Okay. Click the buttons, or you want to change the buttons colors. You can do that too. Select the buttons using your select tool. Using your select tool, select the buttons. And then from there, hit the plus button and then change them. Let's go width. Look at that. That made it a lot bigger. That's one example. There's a huge button for you right there. It's kind of weird. What if Google's buttons were like that? That'd be pretty funny. You can do different things. So have a blast, poke around, and what I request that you do is take a screenshot of what you make the Google homepage look like. That's what this quiz is. Change it into something you want it to be, and then make some notes about what you changed. Copy your CSS if you'd like to into there if you're really happy about it, and just show the world. Bring it into the comments and just share it with everybody, so we can all look at it and we can all dream and think with you and share in the experience together. Other people can get ideas from each other. And let's just have fun here and build community. So jump on in, have fun, jump into the quiz. And if you have any questions, think about what answer you're looking to get. Think about what kind of solution you're really looking for, and give a descriptive Google search to find that answer. You guys can do it. Have fun. Okay, now this is good too. Now we just finished our next part, which is understanding how to add code using a Google Chrome extension. That's awesome. Now you can just level up your abilities so much, and don't let it go to your head. Don't be proud about it, but you've gained ability and power to change things on the internet for your own personal browsing experience. If you have a favorite website and you want to change the colors, you want to change things on it, change where links go, you can add those custom styles on top of websites right now. All you got to do is go to Google, learn a little bit, research some things, and you can apply those skills. So, congratulations to you. You're growing in knowledge. That's awesome. Keep going, keep experiencing and learning, asking questions. Maybe you want to take a break from this course and jump on Google and ask a few questions and dive in deep. Maybe you want to keep going on this guided experience and keep going along with these course videos. Both are great options. Just go at your own pace and enjoy the journey.